I'm sitting with Nick Pahlow here today, and we've just been having a chat around a whole range of things. Nick's a great employer in Dubbo. You've got about 60 people employed in your business, Nick. And one of the things you were talking about, well, a couple of things you talked about. One was payroll tax, and certainly payroll tax is a huge disincentive to employment. I'm not sure that many people understand, as you get to employ more people, as your payroll gets over 750 is the current threshold, you've then got to pay an extra 5% tax on all those employees' wages.
Yeah, you do. And with the growth that our business has had over the last few years, our payroll is considerably over that threshold, which means that we pay a large amount of tax to the state government. And I think it does present as a bit of a disincentive for growth, particularly growth in regional areas. Whereas if I think there was a bit of movement around the mechanism for that payroll tax, that it might promote growth in regional areas, and particularly with our business, 100% it will.
Yeah.
We'd look to employ regionally to offset that payroll tax.
And certainly one of the things I've talked about before is having some payroll tax exemptions for regional businesses, and when those people are based regionally. So if they're employed in Sydney but they just put head office in Dubbo, no, that wouldn't work. But having people that are based regionally, which is what we want growth regionally, I think that'd be fantastic. But you've also come up with a slight variation on that in terms of the way to promote business growth for some sort of deferral of payroll tax.
Yeah, so the thought I had was that if we're able to defer the tax to the next financial year, for example, if we had a payroll tax of $100,000, if we grew our employment base, that whatever we grew that employment base by, we're able to defer the payroll tax. And then if we continue to grow year on year out, we continue to defer that. But eventually you're not going to always sustain that growth. So you're going to plateau. We might put another 12 people on over the next 2 years. So we might defer that payroll tax for 2 years, but then all of a sudden your payroll tax has gone from 200,000 a year to 240, and then you start to pay it again. And then in 4 or 5 years' time, we might have another growth period. So we would then be eligible for that again. And I think if it was, as you've mentioned, your electorate is what your principal focus is, and if it was about growing jobs in regional New South Wales, I think it would become an incentive to grow your business as opposed to a disincentive. Because ultimately every staff member I put on, we then have a 5% payroll tax because we're already over the threshold. So therefore my prices have to go up to cover that. So my prices to my client, and then their prices to their client, and then their prices to the consumer ends up paying for it anyway.
Yeah,
so
it's spot on.
It's a disincentive.
What we really want is that growth. Let's say I'm focused on regional growth, definitely, but we want growth. So we want employers to be encouraged to put people on, not discouraged to put people on, because the benefits of having employment, the benefits to the community, the social benefits to the community, the tax that's generated, PAYG tax that's generated. So there's all these other great things for a community when you've got employment. I just don't know that extra 5%, especially regionally, is a great thing for the community.
Yeah, that's right. And as one of the things we spoke about off camera was that, you know, if that new employee was just exempt from payroll tax, is that going to be enough incentive? Well, it's only 5%. So if I'm paying someone, you know, $60,000 a year, it's only $3,000 the same. Whereas if we were able to accumulate all those increases in wages and have that as an exemption for 12 months, and then move on and continue to pay payroll tax beyond that. And one of the things you led to was, let's bring more people into the region. So if it was an incentive to not only grow your business, employ more people, but employ more people out of region, bring them to Dubbo, so that the community of Dubbo and the surrounding region benefits from that. We get more funding for our hospitals, for our schools, the whole lot. So it has a knock-on effect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they grow. So the other quick thing I want to touch on is, you talked about grants. I've had a few conversations with a whole range of different people about the grants process. When there are grants available, and one of the things you mentioned there was a particular program that was advertised as $4 million for grants for businesses that are going to grow. The conversation you had with that government department was they'd allocated approximately zero of that $4 million. So it sounded good when they advertised it, but they made it so cumbersome and so onerous that no one took it up.
Yeah, so there was an incentive there for growth of your business, to get us so many dollars per new employee. And we fell right into the criteria. You know, it was businesses that turned over X to Z. We ticked all the boxes. You had to have a business model that was going to sustain that growth. It wasn't just a one-off hit. We brought in the government member, like the person that was in charge of this, and sat down with my accountant. We went through everything, and at the end of the day, it was basically too difficult. It was, you know, even though we thought we ticked every box, we didn't tick every box. And then when we questioned the employee, the government employee. They said, how much of this money's been allocated, and it was absolutely zero. So I mean, what's the point of having it there if it's unachievable, or you can't get your hands on it?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not saying that we just open everything and just hand out money to anyone that wants it, but just making those application processes easier, make it easy to achieve that. Because if you believe the grant is going to achieve something good, then make sure people can access it. Don't sit it there that makes it too hard for people to access.
100%.
Yeah.
So look, these systems are good. There are the payroll tax to me would work. I can see that would work. The government grants, it's just shuffling money from side to side. So make it an incentive.
Yeah, and make it an incentive to deliver benefits. That's what we're all about. Make sure we're getting those benefits, in particular of regional New South Wales.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, good chatting to you. Thanks for your time, Nick.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Okay.